Hey folks, welcome to Running Retro. So today we are going to be finishing up Metroid II. I was a little late to the party on Metroid 1, and we played that all the way through and beat it. So I thought it would be fun to round it out a little bit and play some Metroid 2, which is one of my favorites of all time. I think it's a really underrated gem. We are currently going into the end game and wrapping this sucker up. So stick with us to the end and watch the final boss go down. Although I do it in a less conventional manner, so stick around for that. And without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Just got to save. I'm reasonably stocked up on health and missiles. There's not too many resources from here, so I wanted to be pretty topped up. We will need the ice beam towards the end here, and because of that, I made the decision to pick it up a little bit early, so we didn't have to pick it up later. There really aren't any basic enemies from here to the final boss. There are a couple, but they're not difficult to deal with at all. So the premise of this game is that you are trying to eradicate all of the Metroids. As you can see in the lower right hand corner, we have 6 left to go. So we're going to be trying to find those 6, eliminate them, and get out of town. The last run was a large chunk of the Metroids. I don't know why I'm trying to shoot these things. I guess because it feels bad having almost full health, but not actually having full health. One thing you'll note here that I probably should have mentioned earlier than that, and of course I immediately take damage, is that if you look at the 9s and the 4s, they look really similar. And that's actually can be kind of frustrating because you think you've got 90 health and you've actually got 40 health. I have died that way, where I thought I had plenty of health, I made a judgment call, and then discovered, much to my chagrin, that I was very, very, very mistaken. God loves Screw Attack. It's so good. God, I hate those guys. They get me every time. Fool me once, is how the saying goes. Well, they fooled me multiple times. But yeah, basically with the Ice Beam, because we have the Screw Attack will instantly kill any basic enemy in the game, so we don't really need our weapon. We don't need our arm cannon because we have a better weapon just naturally. And I had forgotten that I needed to beat a couple Metroids before we head that way. So I'm going to have to backtrack. This is actually a part of the game that I'm not that big a fan of, because as you go through here, you actually have to do this entire climb and then go all the way back out and come all the way back in and fight a different Metroid multiple times. And because the rest of the game is relatively linear compared to most Metroids, it doesn't feel like... It feels like there's no real way that you should necessarily know. There is a way, but it feels kind of like you shouldn't necessarily know where you were supposed to go. The reason you would know it is because there are 2 shells here. 2 Metroid shells here. And you've been fighting something a lot harder than Alpha Metroid, so... There's hints here, but... Yeah, it's a little bit obtuse. Oh, the other thing is you have to enter from the right-hand side. I'm sorry, from the left-hand side to trigger the next Metroid. And I didn't know that was the catch until after I did this. I figured it out when I did this, but because I saw the screen shake, which means it's unlocked an area. So I was like, oh, well, okay, cool. So I've unlocked an area. I've got the final area, and you know, now I can go figure out what I actually need to do to beat the game. I did stop there for a second because I wanted to see how many shots of the ice beam it took to kill those guys, just so I had some idea. Yeah, so that's why I fall in the damaging lava there, or acid, or whatever it is, because I was thinking, okay, screen shook, so I've unlocked the next area. Wait, no. And then I was thinking to myself, well, I know I need to fight another Metroid up there, in that where I just fought one, but it didn't spawn, so why not? Well, then it dawned on me that you have to enter in the screen transition from the left side, not the right side like I did. So here we are again. This space looks familiar, and lo and behold, looky, there he is. This is our first Omega Metroid. So actually, I think this Omega Metroid is the hardest. And it's in the least confined space. And that's why I find it to be so hard. Because you can, as he gets closer like that, and that was just bad. But as he gets closer, you can only have one missile on the screen, but the moment a missile connects, you can fire another one. So the best way I found to actually beat the Omega Metroids is to just sit there, get yourself in a corner where, sure, you take a bunch of damage, but at the end of the day, you're also able to just spam as fast as possible when he dive bombs. You're able to spam as fast as possible a ton of missiles into his face, and that really does help to speed the fight up. They still take a ton of damage though. These guys are crazy how many hits they can take, and they deal a lot of damage too. I'm afraid of these Metroids, but I still think the previous form is easier to beat than these guys. I think these guys, because with maybe the possible exception of that particular one, he is really rough. Look at that for the Metroid count. That says 4, but it really does look like 9. For that matter, my missiles right now are 114, not 119. But anyway, I digress. So, yeah, because you can just sort of lock yourself into a corner, those guys do more, the Omega Metroids do more damage and last longer than than all the other Metroids. But because they're so aggressive and they kind of get in line with where you are, the Gammas hiding from you and staying directly above you and not letting you hit them end up getting more damage in my opinion, than the Omega Metroids, where you just wall yourself so all they can do is get directly in line, where you can just hammer them with missiles. At least, that's my opinion on that one. I was gonna get this guy. I don't care how much damage I've got to take here, as long as it's not lethal. Figure I should pick up health. I'm going in endgame. I should into the true final area, so I should probably pick up health when I get in. And I'm kind of low because that Omega Metroid really did a number on me. So I am trying to farm a little bit here, but it's... I couldn't remember whether these guys drop small health or whether they drop large health. So that's why you see me wandering back and forth here a little bit, trying to figure out, wait a minute, is it small? And I keep, for some reason I'm watching my my screw attack. So I actually am missing the amount that they're giving me. I think there I figured out. Like, then I start debating in my head, well, for the next couple fights, I really am going to need a lot more health, so maybe this is the best place to grind it. Because there's no more health refill until right before the final boss. And I do know that. And there are a lot of enemies here, so, you know, it seems pretty good. But since they drop so little health, I do know a spot where things drop a lot better health. So I just decided to head for that. I'm so close that why not? Meander my way around these. Man, the walls look like nerds. Like the old candy, nerds. That's what this room looks like to me. It looks like you're jumping on gigantic platforms made of nerds. There is a save point. I can't remember whether it's in the next room or whether it was in the previous room and I missed it. No, it's in this room. Couldn't remember whether I skipped it going in. I'm marginally afraid of the Omega Metroids, though, so it doesn't hurt to be a little bit safe. I'm not trying to speedrun this. Or I wasn't. I actually ended up getting a time that if I had been trying to speedrun it, maybe it would have been, it might have been actually worth posting and sending in to speedrun.com. So this is the first grind. I grind up health, and I grind up missiles. Because we're about to go on a really fun little trek of nothing but Omega Metroids. So you can skip ahead a couple minutes and you'll get to skip grind, but we do this twice. Here, after the, well, I think we only do this twice. We do this for this fight here, and then we do this for the fight after, because you fight those 4 Metroids that are there. 3 of them are Omegas, so we have to fight 3 Omega Metroids back to back, and that's a lot of condensed punishment. So, but if you guys need to, you know, farm up, that's the place to do it. I didn't get full, but close enough, because we're going to have to come back and farm anyway. These guys take a lot of missiles, though, and they do a lot of damage. So if you get to a point where you're making mistakes, or you do the wrong thing, then suddenly, even though it looks like you've got a ton of leeway here, you really don't. Yeah, you really, really don't. So I really want to be where he is, up in that section. And I'm trying to maneuver him so that he will go over there, and then you'll see in a second here. First of all, it's just really easy to hit him there. Then when he does that, if he gets in front of us, then we can just shoot him right in the maw from point blank range, which means that the missiles basically never appear on screen. So you can just spam them as absolute hard and as fast as you possibly can. If you watch my missile numbers when he gets close to me, look how fast they're going down. And they just drop. So that's what I try and do for these Omega Metroids, is I try and lure them into a spot where they have no choice but to dive bomb me or be on the same plane as my missile. So at least I'm A, either getting chip damage in, or B, I'm just spamming them as fast as I can right into their maw. So now I need to recover from that excursion, because that went relatively smoothly. Not that smoothly, but relatively smoothly. So I managed to keep a bunch of missiles, and that's basically it. The smoother it goes, then the easier your grind is. And since we've got to do 2 more after this, I feel like I probably grind all the way right here. No, okay. I did basically the same thing I did last time. At least this guy, there is nowhere you can be. In fact, this is what taught me how to fight these guys. This guy, the only place you can fight him is over in this corner. Of course, he's just decided that he's not going to be nice or work with us at all, so that's awkward, but there we go. No, never mind. There we go. Now I'm where I want to be. I'm on the right side. I'm locked into a wall, so yeah. Though he keeps going behind me here. There we go. That's the situation. If you can create it, then it will, it'll net you gold every time. You'll note we don't actually take much damage from... we don't actually take that much damage from them. We take most of the damage because we get bodied. Right there, yeah, that's the sweet spot. Yep. And that just allows us to trash on him. And we didn't take all that much damage. And we didn't use all that many missiles. So I do go back and do one more grind for the final Omega Metroid. Because 132 and that, I might be able to do it, but... I want to make sure, because I do not want to go back and do this again. I don't want to have to reload to save, and just do the grind anyway, so I just accept the fact that I'm in for this grind. With what I've got and the resources that I have, it's not that bad. There is a health and missile refill right before the final boss, so... after we beat the last Omega Metroid, we don't have to worry about that. We can just continue on through the game. Oh, grinding. Isn't it fun? The biggest thing we're really grinding here, frankly, is not health, it's missiles. My missile count is horrible. And the drops have been really bad for it, too. I remember this because I max out on health here, and then immediately, like an idiot, decided to go get hit. I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe not. Nope, okay. Just decided to call it a day. It was my previous run that I managed to get to full health, and then just immediately... got cornered and took a whole bunch of damage and felt real dumb. Felt real dumb. Save complete. Alright, so just screw attacking our way back through here, going to the final area here, and one last Omega Metroid. One last Omega Metroid. And none of the Omega Metroids in this one really wanted to cooperate. They all wanted to be kind of grumpy. So, this guy, if this guy will just like, yeah, just, if I can get close to him, but if he'll dive bomb me one more time, that's where the sweet spot is. So, yeah, that's the sweet spot. But instead he decides to swap places with me. So I do manage to get that last shot in there, which is nice. And with that, we only have one left. So all we gotta do is get there. And if you get to this point, don't worry, there aren't any more enemies. You only there are no more basic enemies while you're wandering through the halls. But that also means you can't get health drops. This trek is weird. I don't know why they did it the way that they did it, because it is kind of a maze, but without enemies, like, what's the point? I don't... That's another aspect of this that I feel is kind of bad game design, because it's just a time killer. It's just a way for you to be able to waste time. The only thing is the pink goop here, and those black lines on top really do look bad. They could have done something better with that, even with the Game Boy. But anyway, that pink goop affects how you jump a lot. So, and it's a gimmick in the last area too. But it doesn't do anything but just hinder your progress. So again, it's just kind of annoying. It doesn't really serve any meaningful purpose. It's just obnoxious. So I don't feel like that's a very good, I don't think that's a very good, like that, there's just, why? That all this is a time sink. And that I think is kind of unacceptable. It's just not okay. Like, if it did damage to you, or, you know, it was something where it was a sort of a battle of attrition to get through here, that's one thing. But since it's just completely empty and filled with the irritating goop, then yeah. I guess you could argue that it's ambience, but I'm not sure it really is either. Yeah. Actually, space jumping that stuff is kind of awkward. And, of course, every time I miss something like that, I always fall all the way back down. I'm so bad at recovering from those moments. Amongst my friends, I'm kind of notorious for that. If I'm going to make a mistake, and then buy cracky, I'm going to do it properly. So, the last run that I had right here, I actually had a lot of trouble with the final boss for some reason. Normally I don't, but I did then. So I figured, while people were watching, it would be way more interesting to just get full health and go fight the final boss. Or, if I died a lot, then at least I could I could just mention that I died a lot, edit out the deaths, so you didn't have to watch it and take all your time watching it. As it is, you know, that was my logic for going back and saving. That transition takes so long. I half jumped and realized that you need to be Spring Ball. And I love how the Metroid count goes up. It's like, wait, what? And the Metroids in this are... I really like the sprites. I actually think that, considering it's Game Boy, the sprites look so sweet. But the Metroids had this habit of just, like, getting you, releasing you, and immediately capturing you again. So I'm paranoid as all get out of them. And indeed, here I finally get caught by one. I wish they'd given the opportunity to change your weapon while you were being, you know, absorbed by a Metroid II. Because that's something that is kind of irritating. So in other words, when you have missiles and they grab you, when you get released, if you had missiles selected, you still have missiles selected. So if they're coming straight back for you, sometimes there's not a choice or not an option in time-wise to switch to your Ice Beam in order to be able to handle the Metroids. And also coming up here, they don't have that many drops, and you need a lot of missiles for the final boss. So this really is, if you haven't gotten the upgrades, then you're in some real trouble right here. Because you're going to take a lot of damage, and it's going to take a lot of resources. That's why I'm being so careful here with my missile shots. Because I know how many missiles this is going to take. It takes 150, I think, if I remember correctly. And I think people consider this the harder kill, but I like it more. So you've got two ways you can damage the boss here. When it nibbles there, you can shoot it with missiles right in the maw like that, and it will freeze. And you can morph ball and go up its gullet and bomb it. But I find because of the same thing as the Omega Metroids, that if you get it right there, you can, and your mashing is good, you can just spam missiles so fast that, yeah, you can actually get a lot of damage in. Of course, the fact that you're taking constant damage too doesn't help, but... I mean, at this point, I really am worried about running out of missiles. And there we are. I had 3 extras, so I made it right on the T. I couldn't remember where I needed to go. It is to the left, yeah. I don't know why I got confused by that. I kept thinking I needed to go right. And that shouldn't have skipped there. Yeah, there we go. If you played Super Metroid, you recognize this little guy. And controlling the Metroid here is kind of frustrating sometimes, but basically if you just put your body on it continually, then the Metroid will go where you are, so that makes getting out of here, you know, a little bit better. I wonder what the speediest strat for that is. Should look. Not getting the Metroid glitched and then falling all the way back down. That's probably speedier than what I did. But we gots to get out of here. I do like the stars. Like, I do like the feeling that you just climbed all this way out and you're kind of out in the fresh air again. It actually catches the ambience pretty well. I guess that's what was so disappointing about the pink goop area. It didn't feel like it captured the essence of, like, caves. Though I imagine that's what they were actually trying to go for. So I always have trouble hitting the ship from this jump. Ah, it's so close. And that, folks, is Metroid II. So, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching it all the way to the end. If you want to stick around, you can actually see what my in-game time was. It's pretty good, considering I wasn't actively trying to speedrun it. It makes me want to actually try and speedrun it and see if I can get in like top 50. Is just sort of a start. But if you like this, then like, subscribe, hit the bell on the way out. Tuesdays, we'll keep putting up gameplay videos like this in different series. And then Thursdays, we do mods, repairs, and refurbs, and just sort of general stuff for like, assembly, disassembly, stuff to try and help the community upkeep your systems, so that there's a little bit more information about that. We have live streams on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do RPGs. On Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do whatever might be fun for that day, whether it's community voted in or whether it's something that we'd really like to play and show off. And then Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a series called Getting Good, where we play a really hard game or a game that I've never played before, or both, and we get beat up by it until we get good at it. So come check us out and take a look at our social media, Facebook, Twitter. Come join us on our Discord and join the conversation. And then last but not least, leave comments below if you'd like to see something. And there you go, 209. So we'll see you guys later.